The wreckage was still smoking when Riven found it. His scanner picked up the crash only 2 hours ago, but even that was almost too late on this wild, storm-filled planet. The jungle moon was not kind to strangers, and most who came down here never left. But Riven wasn't like most. He moved carefully, boots sinking into thick moss, eyes sharp. Twisted metal, broken glass, and fire-blackened panels covered the clearing. It was a royal escape pod, he could tell by the markings slammed hard into the ground and nearly torn in half. He should have turned back. He had no reason to get involved. Then he heard it, a soft sound, a breath. He rushed forward, forcing open a bent side door with both arms. Inside, tangled in wires and sparks, were two alien women. One older, with glowing silver hair matted in blood, lay slumped against a wall. Her face was calm, but her chest moved slowly, alive. Barely. The second one, young, her skin flawless and deep blue, was awake. Her eyes locked onto his the second he stepped inside, full of fire and fear. "Don't touch her," she whispered weakly. "I'm not here to hurt you," Riven said, raising his hands. "I'm here to help." She looked at him strangely. "You're human?" Riven nodded. "Yes, and you're lucky I found you." The younger girl tried to push herself up, but cried out in pain. Her leg was twisted, likely broken. The older woman wasn't moving at all now. Riven moved quickly. He injected both with pain blockers, sealed their wounds with a biospray, and lifted them out one by one. They were light, fragile compared to human weight. He loaded them onto his hover sled and began the long trip back through the jungle. The rain started again halfway home. It poured hard, but Riven didn't stop. The younger girl passed out. The older one was still breathing, but only just. Back at his shelter, a hidden dome reinforced with scavenged armor, he carried them inside. He placed the elder woman in the warmest bed, covering her with heated blankets. The younger one stirred awake, her eyes fluttering as the glow of safety touched her skin. He gave her water. She drank slowly, never looking away from his face. "You're not supposed to be here," she said. "I could say the same," Riven replied. "What happened to your ship?" "We were attacked. Pirates or bounty hunters. Maybe both. We escaped. Just me and my mother." Riven checked the older woman's pulse. "She's your mother. She's more than that. She's a royal bloodline keeper, the last of her house." Riven looked at her again. He hadn't noticed the delicate patterns on her skin, the royal inkwork of the Thalan species. They were rare, mostly extinct. This was not just a rescue. This was a galactic event. "She needs more than medicine," the girl said quietly. "Her body, it's failing." "I'm not a doctor," Riven admitted, pulling open a cabinet of old Earth medical tech. "But I've treated worse." He injected her with that experimental Earth serum, something he shouldn't still have. It was part of a biotech project meant to stimulate cell growth and repair across species. Illegal now, banned on most planets. But it had worked once before. Maybe it could work again. Hours passed. The older woman remained unconscious, but her breathing steadied. Her color improved. The young girl never left her side. "What's your name?" Riven asked as he brought her food. "Sayla," she said. "And yours?" "Riven." She ate slowly, her eyes scanning the room, the weapons, the tools, the food stores, everything about him. "You live alone?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because it's easier that way." She smiled faintly. "Not anymore." Riven chuckled, then leaned over to check her leg. It was healing fast. He frowned, touched her skin, and noticed something strange. Her cells had reacted to the serum more strongly than expected, stronger than normal. Sayla noticed his concern. "What is it?" "You're healing better than you should." She looked at him, a strange shimmer in her eyes. "You feel different, too. Your touch, it's warm. But something else, it feels like light." Riven pulled away, confused. He stood up and walked to the other side of the room, uneasy. He didn't tell her the truth. Not yet. He didn't tell her that the serum had been designed for humans, and that for it to work this well on her, something in him had changed. Later that night, Sayla sat beside her mother's bed. The older woman stirred. Her fingers twitched. Her breathing grew deeper. "She's waking up," Sayla whispered. Riven stepped closer. The older woman opened her eyes, They met Riven's, and she gasped not in fear, but in recognition. You, she said weakly, you're not supposed to exist. Riven blinked. What do you mean? But the woman fell back asleep, her energy drained. Selah looked up at Riven. I think she knows something, she said. Something about you, and in that silent room. With the storm outside howling against the dome, the human, the mother, and the daughter were now connected, and none of them could guess how deep that connection would soon grow. Riven stood outside the dome, wiping sweat from his brow as the moonlight filtered through the jungle trees. The storm had passed, but the wind still whispered through the leaves like voices speaking secrets. Inside, the warmth of the shelter flickered from the small fire he had built. He turned when he heard movement. Selah stepped out barefoot, her leg wrapped neatly and her balance strong again. The gown she wore was soft and loose, taken from one of the old crates Riven salvaged years ago. Her glowing blue skin reflected the soft firelight like polished stone. I couldn't sleep, she said quietly. Riven nodded. Still feeling pain? No, she answered, stepping closer. Not pain, just restless. He watched her carefully. There was something about the way she looked at him now. It wasn't the same as the weak girl he had rescued from the pod. She looked stronger, her eyes deeper, her presence more aware. You should rest, Riven said. I tried, she replied, her voice lowering. But I kept hearing your voice. I dreamed of your hands. He turned away, unsure how to answer. That, Selah stepped beside him, close enough that he could feel her body heat. Her fingers brushed his arm, just a light touch, but it made something in his chest tighten. What are you afraid of, Riven? She asked. He looked down at her. I'm afraid of doing something I can't take back. She tilted her head. But you already did something, didn't you? You gave us that serum. You touched our bodies. You changed something inside us. He didn't respond. Selah looked toward the shelter, then back at him. My mother is sleeping peacefully now, she whispered. She hasn't slept like that in years, and I feel alive, like I've never felt before, like my body's been waiting for this energy. She took his hand and placed it over her stomach. Riven hesitated, then allowed the connection. Her skin pulsed softly under his palm, warm, steady, almost electric. I'm not sick, she said. I'm not broken, but I'm becoming something else because of you. Riven stepped back, his hand falling to his side. This isn't how it should go, he said. You don't know what I am. Then tell me. He looked into her eyes and saw only truth. She wanted to understand, not to run. I wasn't born with this ability, he said. I was part of an Earth experiment project Lifewell. They wanted to make human blood compatible with other species, heal across DNA, connect across species. And they succeeded. She asked. They didn't know. He replied. I escaped before they could finish their tests. I didn't want to be someone's tool. I hid here. And now, Selah said with a small smile, you're someone's healer. She reached out and touched his cheek. For a second, he didn't move. Then the door behind them creaked open. Lady Avara stood there, wrapped in blankets, her eyes sharp despite the healing still taking place in her body. Her expression was unreadable. She looked from her daughter to the human, then back. Come inside, she said. It's cold. They followed her in. Riven helped her sit beside the fire, offering her warm broth. She took it silently. I remember you, she said to him after a long moment, from a vision. A prophecy passed to every bloodkeeper, a male from the cursed world, bearing life not meant for his kind. Riven stayed silent. My people called it a myth, she continued. A human male who would one day give new blood to dying houses. I never believed it, until I felt the child growing inside my daughter. Selah's eyes widened. You knew? Avara nodded. The moment I woke, I felt it in the air, and in my own body. Riven froze. What do you mean? Avara placed her hand gently on her own belly. I am not young, Riven. My womb was silent for decades, but now I feel it stir. Life inside me. Selah's lips parted. Mother, are you saying? Avara gave a small, bitter laugh. Yes, I carry it too. The room went completely still. Riven stared at the two of them, stunned. He stepped back toward the far wall, breath shallow. This shouldn't happen, he said. Not both of you. It's not natural. But it is happening, Evara said. You're not a normal man. You're a key, a living seed for more than just healing. Sayla reached for her mother's hand, confused but not afraid. What does this mean for us? She asked. Evara looked into the fire. It means we are bonded now, all three of us. And when word gets out, we will not be safe, Riven understood. Royal bloodlines did not forgive scandal, especially not when a mother and daughter were both carrying the same outsider's child. But Sayla smiled softly, her fingers sliding into Riven's hand once again. Then let them come, she whispered. We're not afraid. And Riven, for the first time in years, realized he wasn't either. Sayla stood alone in the dim washroom, her hands trembling over her bare stomach. Her reflection shimmered faintly in the metal panel above the basin. She looked the same, yet something inside her told her she wasn't. Not anymore. The surface of her belly wasn't large, not yet, but it was firm, warm, and pulsing gently beneath her fingers. She felt the soft glow of energy that never used to be there. And just beneath that surface, something moved. She gasped. It was real. Behind her. The curtain moved. Riven didn't step in, but his voice came from outside the soft divider. Are you all right? Sayla pressed her hand against her stomach, steadying herself. I think I felt it. She whispered. It moved. Riven paused. That's early. I know. She turned slowly, her eyes wide and shining. It's not just a baby, she said. It's something more. When she stepped out, wrapped in a thin robe, Riven noticed how her walk had changed. Slower, smoother, as if her entire body now moved with a rhythm it didn't before. Evara sat quietly nearby, her own expression unreadable. Her arms wrapped around herself like a wall. Sayla approached her mother. Have you felt it too? She asked. Evara didn't answer at first. Then she nodded. It's quiet, she said. But it's growing. Steady. Like it knows its place. Sayla sat beside her. Mother, what are we going to do? Evara looked at Riven. That depends on him. Riven raised his hands. I didn't mean for this to happen. I tried to save your lives, that's all. But you did more, Evara said calmly. You awakened our bodies. You bonded with us. Whether you meant to or not, your blood now runs in ours. He rubbed the back of his neck. That makes me responsible. It makes you chosen, Evara corrected. Sayla tilted her head. Chosen for what? Evara stood slowly, her hand resting on the slight swell of her abdomen. Our people believed that once our line was broken, it could never return. Our wombs were considered sacred but silent. For generations, no royal woman carried new life. Now, two of us carry children by the same man, one from a world we called a death planet. Riven stepped closer. What will your people say? They'll be horrified, Evara replied. Jealous, furious, they'll want the children destroyed. And you, executed. And you? Riven asked. Evara's eyes didn't waver. I will protect my child, no matter the cost, even if it means facing my own people. Sayla smiled. Then we're together in this. That night, the stars above the jungle glowed brighter than ever. The moons shifted low on the horizon, casting silver light across the treetops. Inside the shelter, something strange was happening. Sayla tossed in her bed. Her body was too hot. She removed the blanket, then the robe. Her skin glowed faintly now, especially around her hips and belly. She pressed her hands to her sides and gasped again. It wasn't painful but powerful. The child was growing faster than any normal pregnancy. Across the room, Evara sat awake, staring at her hands. She could feel the life inside her drawing energy from deep within. Her bones ached. Her skin pulsed with ancient power. Her veins shimmered faintly with a golden hue. Then she heard footsteps. Riven entered, shirtless, rubbing his eyes. You felt it too? He asked quietly. Evara nodded. They're accelerating. The growth is not natural, but neither is it wrong. Are you afraid? She looked at him carefully. No, but I am curious. Tell me, human, have you ever created life before? He shook his head. No woman on earth ever carried my child. I didn't think it was even possible. Evara stood, her bare feet silent on the floor. She walked toward him, her royal grace still visible beneath her growing weight. Her eyes locked with his. Then these children, she said softly, are the first of your kind. And mine, and hers, Riven swallowed. What do we call them, Evara? Smiled faintly. Heirs. Suddenly, Selah cried out from her bed. Riven and Evara rushed to her side. She was sweating, clutching her belly. Not in pain, just overwhelmed. I can hear it, she whispered. A heartbeat, but not 1, 2, 3, 4. Evara's mouth parted. Twins, more, Selah said. I think it's more. Riven placed his hand on her stomach, and a sudden pulse of energy shot through his arm. His eyes widened. These children, he muttered. They're connected to me, not just biologically. They're drawing from something deeper, my core. Evara nodded. That's what your experiment did. It didn't just make you fertile. It made you a wellspring. Selah looked into his eyes. Does that scare you? He smiled, though he looked unsure. No, but it means I can't leave. You never could, Evara whispered. The moment held them still. 3 lives in 1 room, with more growing beneath skin and blood. No one knew what the future held. But for now, the only thing that mattered was this. They were no longer just survivors. They were creators of something new. The jungle was too quiet. Riven felt it first. The birds had stopped calling. The wind carried no sound. Even the insects, normally humming at all hours, had gone silent. He stepped outside the shelter and scanned the treetops. The mist hung low, thick and heavy, like it didn't want to move. Inside, the 2 alien women were resting. Selah lay curled on her side, her hands gently cradling her stomach. Her breathing was steady, peaceful. Evara sat by the window, sharpening a curved ceremonial blade, her expression tight and focused. She noticed his look. You feel it too, she said. Riven nodded. Something's coming. Evara stood. It's too early for the guards to find us unless the pod's beacon activated. I disabled it, Riven said. Did you? Evara's voice was sharp now. Or did your blood do something unexpected again? Before he could answer, a flashing light blinked on the perimeter alarm. Just 1. Then 2 more. Then 10. Riven ran to the console. Ships. Small class. Landing fast. Selah sat up in bed, her eyes wide. Is it the Royal Guard? Evara crossed to her quickly. Stay down. Stay silent. If they see you glowing like this, they'll know. Know what? That you're not carrying an ordinary child. Riven loaded his old plasma rifle, the metal creaking from years of neglect. You can't face them. Evara said, I'm not going to hide while they decide your fate. He opened the shelter door and stepped out, just as 3 armored figures dropped into the clearing. The first soldier removed her helmet. Her skin was violet, eyes pale like smoke, and her gaze cut straight through him. Human, she said coldly. You've broken something sacred. Riven didn't move. They were dying. I saved them. You violated royal blood. Twice. Behind her, another soldier whispered, That's the one. The male from the prophecy. The leader raised a hand to silence them. You'll come with us. The 2 carriers will be judged by the house. You mean executed, Riven said, if necessary. The sound of the blade unsheathing behind him made the guards freeze. Evara stepped out, still wrapped in her robe, but with her weapon raised. You don't speak for the house, she said. I do. You've lost your claim. The lead guard snapped. You carry a hybrid inside you. You've defiled the throne. Evara stepped forward slowly. Then let me speak clearly. I no longer serve a throne that fears life. The guard drew her blade. Riven raised his rifle. No, Evara said calmly. Let me handle my people. The fight was quick but not simple. Evara moved with grace and fire. Her body wasn't what it used to be. She was slower, heavier, but her blade danced with precision. Riven held back, watching her fight her own blood, her own history, to defend something new. When the final blade dropped and the guards retreated into the jungle, wounded and confused, Evara stood panting. A thin cut bled across her cheek, but her eyes were calm. She turned back to Riven. We don't have much time. Inside the shelter, Selah was already packing supplies. They'll come back with more. They will. Evara agreed. And this time, they won't speak. They'll destroy. Riven closed the door. Then we move. That night, they didn't sleep. They gathered everything they could carry: food, weapons, medicine. Riven loaded the sled with power cores and the last of the serum samples. Sayla found her old crown, broken in half, and held it for a long moment before leaving it behind. Before sunrise, they stood at the edge of the jungle trail, looking back at the only place they had known peace together. We were safe here. Sayla whispered. We were changing here, Evara corrected. But safety is no longer enough. As they disappeared into the mist, something inside all three of them had shifted. Riven wasn't just the man who healed them. He was now the one they were willing to fight for. Hours passed before they stopped to rest beside a glowing waterfall deep in the forest. The energy in the air was different. He rolled her, untouched. This place, Evara said, was once a sanctuary for those who broke the old laws. Sayla lowered herself onto a smooth rock. Her hand pressed to her growing belly. Then it suits us. Riven built a small fire and passed them water. The silence between them was no longer awkward. It felt heavy, meaningful. Evara spoke softly. Back there, when I saw you willing to fight for us, I remembered the man I once dreamed of as a child. Strong, strange, from a world I'd never see. Sayla smiled faintly. I dreamed of him too, but I never expected to share him. Neither woman looked at Riven, but both of them knew what he had become. He wasn't just their protector now. He was their future. And somewhere deep in the jungle, the Royal Guard marked their position with tracking drones. But the mother and daughter no longer feared being found. They were ready to be followed. Because this time they wouldn't be hunted. They would lead. By the time the sun reached the center of the sky, the air had grown heavy. Riven stood at the edge of the waterfall, watching the mist curl through the trees like silent messengers. Behind him, Sayla and Evara moved with care, their bodies slower, now heavy with life, but filled with a strange energy that pulsed stronger each day. He could feel it in his chest, something ancient, something rising. The bond he had with them wasn't just emotional or physical. It was deeper, like invisible strings pulling the three of them closer with each heartbeat. A faint beep from the scanner clipped to his belt snapped him out of thought. Motion, not wildlife. Ships, someone's coming, he called out. Evara moved first, her instincts still sharp. She grabbed the small blade hidden beneath her robes and narrowed her eyes toward the treetops. Sayla walked to Riven's side, her hand resting on her stomach. Is it them again? Riven nodded. Not just them, a bigger force. 6, no, 7. Ships, heavier dropships, military grade. Evara frowned. That means one thing. The Royal Tribunal. Riven looked at her. You sure? Yes, Evara said. They come to end things, not talk. The thunder of engines echoed across the forest. Leaves shook. Birds scattered. Within minutes, the ships broke through the clouds, sleek black. Vessels with the gold crest of House Virel. They landed hard, flattening trees. Heat scorching the grass. Soldiers poured out, dozens of them, surrounding the area in perfect formation. And then a new figure stepped out. Tall, beautiful, dressed in shimmering violet robes and gold armor. Her face was emotionless, but her eyes burned with judgment. Evara whispered, That's High Matron Viren. Sayla's breath caught. Your sister, my executioner, Evara answered. The High Matron stepped forward, her voice sharp and clear. Evara of Virel, you stand accused of treason against blood and crown. You are ordered to surrender. You and your daughter will be taken. The human will be executed on sight. Riven lifted his weapon, but Evara held out her hand. Don't, she whispered. She walked forward, slowly, proudly, as if the life growing inside her gave her new weight. I do not surrender. She called back. I carry the future of our people, and so does my daughter. Kill us, and your bloodline dies with us. The matron didn't blink. You carry abominations. Evara took another step. I carry what your throne could not. Life real. Strong, beating life. You call him a disease, this human, but his blood gave us hope. Matron Viren raised her chin. Then you chose the disease over the cure. Her soldiers raised their weapons. Before a shot could fire, Sayla stepped out beside her mother, her hand glowing softly. Where it touched her belly, you fire on us, she shouted. You fire on your future. A wave of energy rippled through the air. The soldiers stepped back. Then Riven stepped between them all. I didn't ask for this, he said. "But I won't let you harm them." The High Matron looked down at him with disdain. "You don't belong in our line, human." Riven nodded. "Maybe not, but it chose me." He lifted both hands, palms glowing now, faint but growing stronger. The serum, the bond, the life inside both women, it had changed him too. He wasn't just a human anymore. He was something else. The ground beneath him shimmered. The plants nearby bent toward him. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, the matron said coldly, "Seize them." Riven moved first. His body blurred. Faster than any human should be, he dodged the first stun blast, spun around, and knocked the weapon from the guard's hands. Evara moved next, swinging her blade with the sharpness of a trained noble warrior. Sayla, though pregnant, channeled her strange glow into a pulse that knocked back to attackers. But they were outnumbered. Even as they fought, more soldiers closed in. One of them aimed a blaster directly at Sayla. Evara screamed, "No." The shot fired. Riven moved like lightning, shielding her with his body. The bolt struck his back. He fell to the ground. Sayla dropped to her knees, grabbing him. Riven, his eyes were still open. Barely, but his breathing was shallow. "No, no, no," she whispered, tears running down her face. Evara stood over them both, shielding her daughter, blade raised. The High Matron stepped forward, calm, cold. "This ends now." Then everything stopped. A wave of light exploded outward from Sayla's body, pure, golden, and alive. The soldiers were thrown back like leaves in a storm. The matron staggered, shocked. Sayla looked up, her eyes glowing brighter than the sun. "Touch him again," she growled, "and I swear I will burn your throne to ash." The jungle trembled. The matron took a step back. Riven's body was still, but his chest rose again. He was alive. Barely. Sayla held him tighter, whispering to the child inside her, "Stay strong. He's still with us." And behind her, Evara raised her voice for all to hear, "We are not broken. We are reborn." The shelter they used now was deep inside the glowing caverns beneath the forest, hidden, quiet, and far from the reach of the High Matron's forces. Riven lay on a bed of soft moss and thermal pads, barely moving, his breath shallow. The burn on his back had sealed, but the wound ran deeper than flesh. Evara sat beside him, her hand gripping his tightly, her face unreadable. Sayla stood near the far wall, pacing slowly, her arms wrapped around her glowing belly. The cave light reflected off her skin, making her look like a goddess carved from starlight. "He saved me again," she said, breaking the silence. "He always does," Evara replied softly. "But how many times can we ask him to? He's not built for this. He's not." Sayla turned around, tears in her eyes. "He's not like us." Evara looked at her daughter. "No, Sayla, he's not like us. He's stronger." The glow in Sayla's stomach pulsed, as if answering. She placed a hand over it, feeling the heartbeat inside, a life growing fast to fast. "I can feel it," she whispered. "The baby, it feels what I feel. It's scared." Evara nodded. "It's connected to you, to him too, and mine feels the same. They're not just children anymore. They're something more." "I know," Sayla said. "That light I released, it didn't come from me alone. It came from them, from what we carry." They sat in silence, the only sound being Riven's slow, steady breathing. Then Evara stood. She looked older now, not from age, but from the weight of what she knew must happen next. "We cannot hide any longer." Sayla turned to her. "They'll find us again. I want them to." Sayla blinked. What are you saying?" Evara walked toward the stone ledge that overlooked the glowing river beneath the cavern. "They already know what we are, but they don't understand what we can become. I will make them see it with or without their permission." Sayla stepped forward. "Mother, you want to confront them again. I want to end this." Evara turned to her daughter. "But I won't go alone. This time, we go together. We don't beg. We don't run. We show them." "Show them what?" Evara's voice was calm and powerful. "That a human gave us back our future. That his blood awakened our wombs. That his love, unwanted or not, made something divine. They fear change, but we are already changed." Sayla lowered her gaze. "And what if they try to take our children?" Evara stepped close, placing a firm hand on her daughter's shoulder. Then we make sure they never get the chance. Later that night, the cave shook faintly as a shuttle rose from beneath the ground. It was one of the old royal models, still functional, hidden in these caves long ago by outlaws who never returned. Sayla took the pilot seat. Avara sat beside her, and Riven still weak-rested in the back, strapped into his seat with healing monitors attached to his chest. He stirred as the engines lifted off. "You're flying," he mumbled. Sayla smiled. "Don't worry. I only crashed one ship," he smirked weakly. "That's not comforting." The ship rose through the canopy and blasted into the sky. The capital ship in orbit, the royal flagship, glowed like a sharp blade hanging in the dark. Sayla aimed for it. "They won't let us in," Riven whispered. "They don't have a choice," Avara said. "We carry more than permission. We carry legacy." As they approached the cruiser, automated defenses locked on. But when Avara activated her royal signature, the weapons powered down. The hangar doors opened slowly. They were being allowed. Inside watched, judged. When the shuttle landed, dozens of armored soldiers surrounded them. Sayla stepped out first, her belly glowing, her spine straight, her eyes full of fire. Then Avara emerged, no longer just a mother, but a royal force with purpose. And when Riven stepped out, wounded, pale, barely standing, every alien I stared at him in silence. From behind the guard line, the High Matron walked forward again, expression unreadable. "You returned." Avara didn't flinch. "I didn't come to kneel. I came to declare." The matron crossed her arms. "Declare what?" "That the old blood is dead," Avara said. "And what grows inside us is the new path forward. You bring a human." The matron spat. "You let him taint your line." "No," Sayla said boldly. "He saved it." The matron looked to the guards. "Seize them." But the guards didn't move. The glow from the women was too strong now. The air around them buzzed. Something powerful, ancient, and alive flowed from their bodies, reaching into every corner of the hangar. One of the guards stepped back. Another lowered his weapon. And then, from the crowd, someone dropped to one knee. Then another. Then 10 more. The High Matron's eyes widened. "What is this?" Avara stepped closer. "It's not rebellion, it's rebirth." And behind her, Riven collapsed again, this time not from pain, but from something deeper awakening in his blood. The children inside both women began to glow brighter, and the galaxy, watching through hidden channels and silent cameras, would never forget what came next. The throne room had never felt this quiet. Hundreds of alien nobles, guards, ministers, and scientists filled the chamber in complete silence, eyes wide, mouths shut. Every breath felt heavy. All of them stared at the center of the golden floor where a human stood between two glowing alien women. Riven's legs were weak, but he remained standing, not because he had strength left, but because the two of them, Avara and Sayla, held him up. Sayla's arm was wrapped under his, her other hand resting over her round stomach. Her skin shimmered like a star. Avara stood on his other side, her body strong, her belly just as full, her presence calm and royal. The High Matron stood at the edge of the dais, jaw tight, fists clenched. "I asked for surrender," she said. "And instead you prayed this. Proof of betrayal?" Riven coughed, speaking through dry lips. "You wanted us to vanish, but here we are." The High Matron turned to the nobles, to royal Wams, both bearing the same man's child. "This is madness. This is shame." Sayla stepped forward, glowing brighter. "No, this is life. This is truth, and you cannot erase it." A whisper spread through the crowd. Some bowed their heads, others nodded quietly. But one voice rang out from the far side. "He's not one of us. His blood is alien." The voice belonged to a high-ranking noble, old, powerful, full of pride. Avara lifted her chin. "And yet his blood gave us what none of you could, children. Hope, a future. He poisoned you. Then why do I feel stronger than I ever have?" She shouted back. "Why does my body carry life after years of silence?" Another noble stood, this one younger, curious. "I saw the scans," he said. "Those children, they're not weak. Their DNA is stable, strong, more adaptive than anything we've seen in generations." The old noble turned on him. "You support this?" "I support surviving," the younger one answered. And maybe it's time we stop fearing the human and start listening to him. All eyes turned to Riven. He blinked, confused, still recovering. I didn't ask for this. I didn't come to change your empire. I just saw the people in pain and I tried to help. He looked at Sayla, then at Ivara. And somehow, we became something none of us expected. Ivara placed her hand gently. Over his heart, we became a family. The High Matron stepped down slowly, her eyes burning. You insult the bloodline, sister. I gave it breath, Ivara said. What have you done? Watched it die in silence. Then the matron's voice dropped to a whisper. You would make him king? No, Sayla said calmly. We would. Make him father. Riven's eyes widened. Wait. What? Ivara smiled. Too late for that human. The throne hall suddenly shifted. The lights dimmed. The air thickened. A surge of energy burst outward from Sayla's stomach. Then another from Ivara. They didn't cry. They didn't scream. They just stood still as the glow from inside them intensified. Gasps filled the chamber. Dozens dropped to their knees. The nobles didn't see pain, they saw power. The unborn children inside them were awakening. Even Riven felt it. A pull in his chest. His body glowed faintly, veins lighting like soft fire. He dropped to one knee. Overwhelmed but not afraid, Sayla whispered. They're speaking to us. Ivara nodded. Her voice calm. They're ready. What do you mean, ready? Riven asked. She turned to him and smiled. They're not just children, she said. They are symbols, messengers, proof that something greater has begun. The High Matron stared in disbelief as the glow around them filled the room. From the far back, one of the scholars shouted, the prophecy, it's true. The blood of stars and soil the healer from the burning world. More voices joined, loud, echoing, chanting, not in anger but in acceptance. Death world or father, rebirth through union, royal twins of the human flame. The High Matron stepped back, her face pale. She had lost, not through war, but through life. Ivara turned to her, calm but firm. Step down, sister, and if I refuse, Sayla's glow surged again. Then the Empire will choose for you. She looked around the throne room, where hundreds now knelt, even the guards, even the scholars. The High Matron clenched her fists, then slowly dropped her head. She stepped away from the dais. Not a word spoken. Ivara helped Riven onto the throne, not to crown him, but to stand beside him. As a partner, as a father of the new royal blood. Sayla stood beside him too, her fingers intertwined with his. And as the Empire watched, the three of them became more than scandal. They became history. Outside the great windows, the stars shifted overhead. A new day began, not ruled by tradition, but born from the impossible love between a human and an alien woman, mother and daughter who now carried the galaxy's future in their arms, and no one could ever take that away.